and said you win him and then so a year at the 24th day of December 2020. Ochina a Christmas day. And the the 24th edition of Ekosiisen M'Ahiasem, Ghana's biggest and the most authoritative political, social, current affairs talk show, the multiple award-winning late afternoon political talk show. I speak on behalf of the best production team in town, a team led by Dominic Kisi Yeboah, with support from Nana Chum Berema, Jackson Osei in Tiamwa, Eric Opare DJ, and a Queen Star Japan. And a special day for so many reasons, not just because of the fact say eve of Christmas, and also birthday of some very, very, very prominent and special people. Just to acknowledge them. Top on that list, my former boss, the person I took over from as programs manager for Asempa FM, Mr. Same Kwadede Yirenchi. Mr. Same Kwadede Yirenchi, happy birthday to you. Live to be 94.7 and beyond. We thank you so much for the influence, for the impact, and for everything. I'll play that special song I'll request it, for you, don't worry. And then so your birthday of the General Secretary of the NDC, the Honorable Johnson Asiedu Nketia. Happy birthday to you, General Mosquito. No, General Mosquito, you're too much. Or you're too much. And happy birthday to you. And also the birthday of the Youth and Sports Minister of the Republic, MP for Achimamponoa constituency, the Honorable Isaac Esiama. Honorable, happy birthday to you as well. You've been a very good friend of our show and a friend to some of us. Happy birthday to you, Honorable Isaac Esiama. Why be your crowd in the birthday now? Me money day. And my boy Kwadede Yirenchi, my boy General Mosquito, my boy Isaac Esiama. I think there are quite a number of people at 81 birthday. And okay, Delali Atiase, a sports presenter with Love FM in Kumasi. Our own colleague, here, the multimedia group based in Kumasi with Love FM. Oman, unimzane Delali Atiase. Awoda Delali Atiase. So, mu amfini bi ya mudi.
Hey, Della Su
Delali Atiase. Yeah.
Onus watch multimedia show.
Watch it.
Only guy na. The near pocha na media grow TUC no. A friend is saying I think a marketing guy manager.
Onus wo Love FM.
Yeah.
Okay.
And ba kwa watch your party bi ami huni dimbo da ikokoi. Oh, no, boss.
Yeah, boss, no, one.
Yeah.
He manager quality.
Agla, Jim Agla. Yeah. And Apuzo. Yeah, Apuzo. Yeah, Apuzo. More drive time.
Okay.
Programs, direct times, and Love FM. Yeah.
Okay.
Apuzo. Apuzo drive way back. And then, oh, hanging the boots and the Kumasi Apuzo. Oh, you cannot.
Yeah, they pay their dues.
And I have a doctor engineer and not to attend so then a birthday.
Okay. The list is endless, and it's a special day. Obi say happy birthday to the great prophet of Bubuashi. And the great prophet of Bubuashi, and I want so happy birthday.
Great prophet. I shall say Bonifu. Is a great prophet.
Great prophet of Bubuashi.
Great prophet of Bubuashi.
Yeah,
I see.
Yeah, and then well, say, official part to all my family and friends, to my mom, Evelyn SL, and my dad, Sammy of Speedlink Freight Services in London, my dad, Kwesi Yeboah, Pastor Kobe of Bread of Heaven, Philo, Ivy, Amanda, and Jeffrey, all in London, and the Kwesi Reynolds to Aguna Odobain, and a Ochia Ebusuafua, Ewo Amanone. We say, good afternoon, Obi. Today is my 9th wedding anniversary. I thank God.
Oh, Masa Mome Asunko did you? The 9th pen.
I thank God for giving me a beautiful and understanding
That
wife.
me going to 30, obisi 41.
Obisi 41. And Abraham Lincoln of ECG and a Mrs. Mary Damte Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln show.
Yeah, on a wedding anniversary, the 9th wedding anniversary. Yeah, Abraham Lincoln and Mrs. Mary Damte Lincoln. On also Koforidia original.
You know your bar. Oh, I'm a Joseph cry. Very, very good question. I'm a
oh yeah, under the circumstances, yeah, very, very good question. And you'll be an area about. Yeah. And yeah, so my name is Adina Moten and Kano. Sounds like Joseph Opoku Gako. Joseph here in parliamentary correspondent and Rana may catch through be said the influence of multimedia are built over the years, and yet just because you were the nicest building and I say you were the best machines, it's because of the quality of our human resource. And the other we can confidently say that our parliament we have the best reporters in parliament. And for Joy Cluster, Joseph Opoku Gakpo, and for the Adom Cluster, and Abednego Asante Asiedu, and 2 solid reporters for us, reporting every day from the Parliament of Ghana. And Joseph Ewaha, Mobekaya Waba, Ababe Buaye Meyeshe, how the 8th Parliament will look at. And you share the leadership of Parliament. And I started with who would be the Speaker of Parliament. Names being about up permutations na at saying we'll do that analysis. You really are share on the majority and the minority side, no. Why am I be for me leader? And I said the front bench of the 2 sides. Names be braina na about up. In the end, and Yabebo Bobby now for your share chances of Omunina the 8th Parliament. But I'm told say Stephen Tornado appear. Former captain of the Black Stars, and they announced now that.
No, sure. Also, the new Mabape, also the way be by.
Step up.
I think the one of the uniqueness, and in a home brass here.
Yeah.
Very, very humble.
Very humble.
And our fashion so. Yeah. Otashe. Otashe green shoes pa. And you shoes so not just normal shoes.
And yeah, normal shoes.
Yeah. Only Udaashe. Ni shoe or shana Coleman. The Coleman then that's a Jinakora Amas in there too. Coleman, formerly of Zunzayo. I have any shoes or shit.
That Tornado shoes and there will be ODABL.
No, me no ho. There's a customer to you. Mr. Coleman shoes. Robert Coleman.
Unruhe.
It's the birthday there. Onyamishan, one of the finest captain. Ghana Black Stars. Ghana.
That's true.
Baby Obiano.
Yeah.
Step up.
Say
no, the
fashion way, no.
Yeah.
Fashion line, step up. Wait, this is Bishop Mensah in London. Could you please wish my second born Kofi Osei Mensah a happy birthday in advance tomorrow? Okay, tomorrow will be his birthday. He will be 11 years tomorrow. I wish him God's protection and provision. Thank you. And thank you to you, Bishop. On my Hinesikani, and guess who is coming to
Gaiji.
Samuel Brian Boabing.
Sure. Oh no, onye di ho. You know, but obi before I be kosono, wadaroma apostolic empowerment, you know, say afinia obekasa ho. Yeah. Onyame ya aduma em say afi ebe kona wie no na yasa ne ho edin kita ho kase pa ma bibia timi Winston bra na oja oboji say Otukono, Winston Bra, Dr. Otukono. Na me fasa kwenya wezu obi. Na me appeal to Ghana for you know. Debia da me kase abatuo we na eye sronko. Esan se na eye mampen a wadi to me pain.
Yes.
Any man paying or so owed to me. Inti yeka intricacy. Any in a where Ghana about to ne a manual semwa. Nipa mienua onisi a kanyano, not only a been for ye. Inti in as much as it was going to be very exciting, it was also a very serious and delicate elections. Yebesre baby afedi ekeka kodu no yesre obia ni ho betime chim se NDC for bo adwo aba ya to no so da mekoso asre se de se fata se amanyuku NDC eye wonin tu sa na mo if we ikrobi wo baby a e friend Ghana anka will take a second chance. Unfortunately, ikrobi any baby you know if this afternoon alert ni bia mashishi ya mana bro so
gazette
you see sometimes no me nyini se sa nyoma no ye ho a Winston de wadi sa nyoma we cheche ebeboa se impo se sampo netia se impo sa afi na electoral commission for
but it is not even true
and I'm because say impo bi say impo.
Why would you call on people to go and mass up at the assembly?
Say impo. So mi busa say one ya M'Ahiasem na mo ye we no e be we chin dey emfaso na won be
yeah,
because this avoidable tensions are nyina ye pick up your day be say be obi nya be man chen obi o it gets to that point then it means nyina na abo amakru na ide abo it ye besre all political party in this case the NDC they should exercise moderation. If they have admirers, so many admirers pa opoku experience when ya Winston experience when ya they could be if they will be fair. Catch say probably the mark of even 6 million. Na ye nyina ye gitum say they na nasi obi dia tons you need to do okra. To the extent that 137. So those lapses no more person mo de ho asembane we agree. Omo fan ko no mon channel
the appropriate quarters.
Yase ene kwa post for quality ma koji to me say de ye even ye chere keke kra person obe chere wadwe keke na ye ma kwa ma onye bi won cry why we heading towards and Winston I don't know mimi susue mu no for the past 2 days maker minim de opoku beka minim de obeka that one I want Rashibi Dom Kumana 106 no.
Yeah.
I want to pay send Kombinya Kwenya Ako Electoral
Commission hono.
Ako dinkita hono. Sa osia kwena edishia omono. Madridim. Whether there was a need to go through a certain process or procedure. Sa wenchini pinchin isi wono. Media wa Brasim. It was very much unnecessary and it should have been avoided.
Yeah.
If we say the worst the police could have done, and they say, "Moye mako 106." Yabema mu nyina mo kwan or mo kan difo no
kwan. Petition
these are harmless people who represent your interest. Many sure say hono mo kotutu akochisi kan akofo nsuhia na say akọ their worst is to disagree with Jane Mensah while presenting their petition. So all these things heighten the tension. She said minority leader kase wonso baba e ho mrashi bedwam. Wonso obaba e ho mrashi bedwam. Ye few cry. Ye nu 2021 amemum cry o. But e ho popoye na eba no. It's contrary to Nana time electoral commission declare no. Oka say abato no sunsanso no kire say ebra so se Ghana for etimi eye baako ne eye adwuma bom. So mesre ye mechere post for adwuma ha. Ye mechere members of parliament for adwuma. Ye nche electoral commission for adwuma ha. Especially when even this matter of Techiman South. The NDC continues to paint a picture of Techiman South, no Fragadam Bia se connection kana nebi opoku. You are following them, and it's worrying, very worrying.
But my dream, your follow conversation now. Of course, NDC continues to raise concerns about Esikado. They've been talking about Zabzugu. They've been talking about Seshio,
Takwan
Swayem. But Techiman South, they continue to hate on Techiman South to the extent that minority for address a press conference the omofreno public collation putting together figures one after the other any adia na omo ye na ye hu ye omo focusing on other areas Techiman South. I don't know my boss will abwa. In fact, na me heard documentary be in Ranajo. I catalog it. They see what Techiman South over the last 2 weeks or so, right from the 9th now moto abano ababababesine. And who say NDC for no have been very consistent in insisting say say we need Techiman South no and it's been taken away from them. My question is, what stops the Electoral Commission from publicly putting out details of Techiman South, polling station by polling station, showing us evidence of the summary sheet that ended up giving us that figure, which they based on that to declare Techiman South for Martin Ejim and Sakosa. What stops the Electoral Commission? See, you know, then you after say NDC, minority for New York, Chairman McMenu, and so Nidian and also the pink sheets by on the no one Indian table and Chenkakra and Excel sheets nana. Or complaining say NDC for Modiano or use Excel sheets instead of focusing on pink sheets, no, or also to display Excel sheets na even after that I also go ahead any own coalition. Question I mean is what stops the EC? I think say we should pile some pressure in that direction. Say the Electoral Commission must come and show us the evidence of the basis for which would declare NPP candidates the winner as far as that election is concerned.
But I think the difficulty for the EC would be, say, based on which law number is hard now person way.
Some ransom and of course we would all want to stick to what the rules say. We would all want to stick to what exactly regulations see in terms of what should be done. But this is something that is raising tension. This is something everybody is talking about. This is something that is drawing people onto the streets. In fact, okay, minority for petition on the comma, Madam Jane Mensah, to me present you on the day. Send the comma Jane Mensah later. Okachra say she's now ready if they want to still come and petition her in person or available. No, they make the point say they associate with the concerns that former President John Mahama has raised about the presidential election. But where the final bit in terms of the demand that they are making now, the focus specifically is on Techiman South. It's on Techiman South, and especially when we've seen a situation where both parties know or more public coalition. Obiama the different figures. NPP force your movie near by more than 400. NDC force your movie near by more than 293. I think, sir, even without the requirements of law in terms of what the approach should be, the Electoral Commission needs to clear the air. Easy way, they've responded to virtually everything. They see social media comments by leaders, including former President Mahama, and they issue a statement responding. They see videos trending on social media, and they issue a statement responding to that. So what stops them? Say, this very crucial issue, probably issuing a statement. They don't have to do a public thing and show us all the pink sheets on live TV, but issuing a public statement detailing which votes were won in which polling stations, all the 267 or so. So we are all clear in our mind, so that everyone can go to bed and be clear in their mind, saying the EC knows what it's doing. In Rani, we can all raise the queries about whether there will be a legal basis for that, but this EC has fought off every single allegation that has targeted their integrity. What of the allegation that they've tempered with Techiman South? What stops them from clarifying it so that we can let this go to bed? It then gives off a certain impression. Say, for all you know, there's something to hide. And no prevent you from going ahead and putting out those details. I think in the interest of the nation's peace, they need to go ahead and clear the air for all of us.
The other point would be, sir, the EC, after declaring results, becomes almost functus officio. There is no other thing they can do apart from under the compulsion of a court. You understand? To them, they have declared Techiman South. They've declared the NPP candidate as winner. They've gone ahead to gazette the result. It would probably take a court of competent jurisdiction to order them to do what we all want them to do.
Obi.
I don't know how we look at that angle as well.
Obi.
Yes.
Nancha Messeman Casa, but Mamman Cancer.
Maminteo.
Mammin chair waiting for Mammin chair waiting for. And Yam Rana no Kade say EC will declare results. I won't post in our constituency office now.
Yes.
Techiman's in what about her? We poster.
One postie.
No,
Good.
I think that
Won't post it. Techiman's out. Won't post it.
website no.
No, our constituency or no in your.
Oh, okay.
No, I think posting there at the polling station, constituency, you hand over a copy of the sheet.
At the coalition center, I'm can intro.
Okay.
At the coalition center, when you finish now, you are supposed to post the results at the constituency office. I'm going to read that particular regulation out to you very soon.
From CI 127.
CI 127. I'm just trying to get it from my phone. Oh yeah, Asema Yerekan. And menye Joseph Gakoya Juno and Zama Caribbean be home. Ninana de Ehunda sa Semaba.
Ekosiisen M'Ahiasem.
Ibotuma boy in Ninara.
Yeah.
Eben Kwana for an boy in Yina. Wawama Mra Mahokwan.
Yeah.
In Chowdi say essay a Mrankusin Ezbe Juma. It is simple. Go ahead and do this very thing. Law nese or there. Let me just get that particular provision. See, I think it's regulation 43 or so. I'm just trying to get that one, and I'll read verbatim what it says, so you would understand that when the you declare the results as EC, you're supposed to post it in the constituency, so that people can see. Inti se asemaba. Nankofo say, oh, yenyibi. Martin J. Mensah say on the 11th of December. Oyadza NDC parliamentary candidate for Techiman South, Christopher Benyere, Okokot. What's it? Okot, Sunyane Court, requesting for recollation.
Okay.
So if he's calling for recollation, what that means is that it means that he admits there's a collation. If and I'm choosing my words carefully. If
he actually went to court
calling for a recollation.
Was that withdrawn? Because
it
means that it
was withdrawn.
Yeah, it was withdrawn.
Yes.
But so you go to court calling for a recollation. What are you saying? You're saying that okay, recollation.
But me bon you so in no sign any bill.
Recollation. And yes, okay, so subject to regulation 40 today's immediately after the results of the poll for the polling stations in the constituency of the returning officer have been given to the returning officer. The returning officer shall, in the presence of the candidates and representative of the candidates, or not more than 2 counting agents appointed by each candidate, assemble the results from the polling stations without recounting the ballots in the ballot boxes, except where there's a challenge by a candidate or counting agent in respect of fill the parliamentary election result summary sheet as set out in Form 1D of the schedule, give public notice of the total votes cast for each candidate, publicly declare as elected in a parliamentary election the candidate who has the highest vote, request the candidates in the representatives or counting agents together with the returning officer sign the parliamentary sheet, parliamentary coalition sheet, as set out in Form C of the schedule, and the parliamentary election result sheet as set out in Form D of the schedule, and post a copy of at the constituency coalition center.
Okay.
So this is regulation 43. Posted at the constituency coalition center. Obi, post a copy. Post a copy there. Now, he post a copy in Ria. I don't know. Neko.
Do I how biano?
Abra Yoko Electoral Commission website, what's the AEB presidential
one.
Parliamentary is not teaching man South and come. And on an America there, on a missing better than the agenda. Oban dema Electoral Commission. And Mano says, I would demand it by Yuma. I will be a cat. Now, as a member Yuma.
Post the coalition sheet.
My essay Gazette. Post it. See, maybe what Mama can say, Mincho.
And the amount necessary say will be posting the summary coalition sheet. On the summary coalition sheet at the constituency level, no, a space all the 256 polling stations. You're throwing now on the vote will be so once you post it, obia. So won't posting poor. Give all the reps a copy.
Obi. Into America, and the assembly. Odikan, Mama can say me. Semakade Obi, Iburiam, Minimre awo ebo wiam sebe.
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Odrumre bia. Oyede mu obiara hu de asem na mema kana mabolata. E man kofo nka de de asma Winston ke ono kwaro obi ne nzema bi ore ye no oya ka de onya obedi ne bono because it's a man edi yedwuma and then nyina man edi yedwuma o ma ye no manim fa madam mbrei onye edwuma mo na fa ko boho se ete boho na anyehwe se oya da wo de boho initially and I'm can say mincho NDC started with Oshase was you Oyenko court. NDC was winning public, all he wanted to do was to win public sympathy. To actually prove to the public there we win. Now, so when you're then public support now, no shall say they were a quarter, they even put one quarter, they would have achieved their case there and check out on the way we in, and that's the end of it. That's how I see it from where I sit. And Electoral Commission wanted to maybe a while, you know. They've actually made their case too difficult.
Relative to Techiman
South. Justice Atuguba. Before Afrajan, but sorry if you see go to court, you see going to court is not easy.
Yeah. When you are put in the door, that cross examination starts here.
My brother.
I almost going to court easy.
Inti MMA seminar there. And
but the other thing is say, let's grant say the Electoral Commission is being recalcitrant. They also are a creation of law.
Which they believe they are not being.
Come again?
The Electoral Commission.
Yes.
They are not.
They believe they are not being recalcitrant. Omufi say, they also they've gazetted the results and all of that. But if I believe, say, the EC had to do something based on CI, because they prepared this CI for Parliament to approve. And it's a CI clear in Regulation 43, right? Regulation 43. Yeah. Say, Constituency Coalition Center, you have to post the result. That's the EC. There are avenues for you to also compare.
But that's where the NDC has. That's where they have a challenge. I didn't know that whole says so.
Yes.
Now to them, Buapayum.
Yes.
Onye. Now per se. Chinchina Yanko court, which is they believe that court in this matter is avoidable if only we can go by the initial regulations in Nigeria. Yes. And I think that.
But the challenge now, they say, the Electoral Commission feels they've not done anything wrong. They
but Winston can carry a deal. Okay, can adhere any viewers and listeners. We are about to a copy of Nyoma Akoso in terms of about to and see a timid be confirm a ban who will be a to a ban, meaning any down. And then Electoral Commission for Musi. Ghana about to abako semuno. Bribia that they come website near presidential. Musi and they present the parliamentary account. Perfect. Fairness. Why do we all have to go just because of a constituency? The whole elections now. Winston Koyo Kodila Onwadi Adanse Bibia no Gapo very peaceful. If after peacefulness, no, the AC will say a hopeless, helpless situation. Just because of one constituency. Why?
No, but Oman, me point in say, if there are violations against the law,
and I'm saying that the position of them
avenue where that violation can be cured. But that avenue is the court.
No.
Well,
Obi, you have interviewed them. Yes. I have. Gapo, Wednesday. Yes. Their position is very clear and simple. I didn't say 1 + 1, a 2, a avoidable going to the best mass teacher, Legon.
Yes.
But
one party is not willing to play ball, and you have to compel that party to do its job. And that's my point. But because it's not as if say easy now your imagine say the more can yet say ya in the baby the easy things they've gone ahead to gazette the result. So if they have not done what they were supposed to do pursuant to Regulation 43 in CI 127, where is the appropriate court to deal with it? It's the court.
So repeatedly, we've been asking the minority this question, including conversations Harun Idris with the minority Dankasai about why they are not going to court. One of the points have to do with the old argument, say, if a declaration in here, then what's the basis? But you are pointing out, say, a violation of the law of a sort, and I be on bit me court to compel them to. But clearly, they are concerned about say omubeko court is and this may end up dragging beyond the 7th of January.
Yeah.
So what's the minority leader highlight
in fact, lawyer Kojoga Daudu made the same point.
He argues that Omo person who a resolution to the Techiman South issue before January 7, 2021. Because of course, with 137, that has a key role to play in terms of the balance of power. Who forms the majority? Who dictates who the Speaker of Parliament will be eventually? Go to court. Now, now a drag for the next 30 days. Now a ruling embar up on that. Then they end up losing the space that they have to have probably formed the majority and end up dictating who exactly the next speaker will be. So yes, go to court, yes. But Electoral Commission also has a responsibility. Say, results no more declare so far no. Gazette no my that far no. They need to help build some integrity and show evidence that what they've done is something that we can all count on. And at this time that there's a dispute.
For you now, no, the biggest evidence they can show, said your man can, would be to put out the summary coalition sheet, right?
I would, in fact, I'll be interested in seeing the summary coalition sheet. I would be interested in seeing
pink sheet by pink sheet.
I will be interested in seeing that. And specifically the figures for all of them, because in fact, documentary and I may refer and I may hear in Ranajui. At a point in time, there was a claim. I don't know how true that is, although we can all go back and verify. There was a claim, say, as at the time that they were doing the mathematics, initially there was a claim that about 5 out of the 267 hadn't come through. And then later they said there were 2 that were eventually outstanding. Of course, we saw the NDC put out the details of the 267. Press conference now. Nti me there me dina chire no madwum yam na kakra ya kan say. Say then the impression was that omo enya the full complement of the pink sheet, even at the time that the final collation was actually being done. Of course, the NDC has gone out to put out the details of how they say are duplicates of all the 267. I would, and of course the MPP has also done it more. I would have more trust and confidence in what I would see the Electoral Commission do out as far as all of those details are concerned, especially at a time when there's a contention between two sides. So for me, it goes beyond the requirements of the law. It goes fundamentally to the responsibility that the people of Ghana have put on Madam Jean Mensah and her commissioners, that they are not just conducting an election and declaring results, but in a way to build the confidence of Ghanaians in that process that they are supervising, so that people are not tempted to want to make use of alternative measures, including going to court to capture power or getting onto the street. That responsibility is for Sheke based on someone who say they are acting according to law, which we are even seeing that they are breaching now. To a certain extent, you'll be very disappointed.
Okay. Man, before there are some messages. Senior journalist Abdul Malik Kwekubako is listening to us. Or say, where are violations of law cured? Not the courts. Do we have the luxury of an alternative? Post-gazetting, the way forward lies in court. Let's not beat about the bush with too much talk. We deepen our democracy by using the judicial option to cure the mischief. 2013 election petition brought up hundreds of electoral malpractices, violations and irregularities with the Supreme Court, which the Supreme Court interrogated and made recommendations. The NDC's quest to form a parliamentary majority can only be achieved in the courts, nowhere else. What stopped the NDC from continuing with the writ of mandamus in the Sunyani court beyond the requirement of the law? How? That's an elusive option. And he feels that the only way out now.
But on some way, because because the position of the NDC amongst the plenty ones, will be also a deliberate action. And San Shemi say, then two, the NDC is asking, say Electoral Commission to me call back Ekosiisen figures. What then is wrong So on call back, hear their side, and see whether they can rectify that lapse. We all agreeing that they be NABA, Newman will be Bomoya, you should say, and Shadam Wayino, and Kabia and Kumku Sankomo Yinano, Ascendibia. They are telling us that, catch almost say, Omunko court, again, catch electoral commission. Again, you catch the flaws in the system. That's the point they are making.
But the difficulty with that position is the flaws in the system will be cured where?
Officially avoidable because they do this stage.
Okay.
Let me my chair kwekuba.
Yes.
I know your political history na you different. Enti wa kan dem no kwekuba kunyimba ya adwene there. Rebecca Adoti. Abro Kijina or Ayawaso West.
That's for Ayawaso.
Only Nadbo Papa.
Only Isaac Amu.
Yes.
What how many years were court?
We are not a parliament.
Now, you wouldn't see in the first time of Jacob for a by-election, we wouldn't see because the NDC candidate at the time did not qualify according to the provisions or qualify parliamentary candidates. Or court eventually court ruling work by election.
But and no was maybe that there are two issues. And no a petition when you go with an election petition to the High Court for parliamentary elections. We know a writ of mandamus to compel the Electoral Commission
to do what is right.
When I was saying posti into brabe posti, two different things. An election petition will go through a process. The writ of mandamus would also go through another process.
Easy results the way declare.
Yes.
Yes. Video na. Nanti we declare results no. No be say results that we declare no. Onyo dem no see. Sisi ya baby ma we dru no. I will see them no see. Sisi them no.
Them no see.
Enti say if you danye them no ateneta. Court na boko. Na say oh mo documents ni. Enti today ma Farijan MPP. Or train woman was the documents na be. No shame. No the documents na that be case biara nyi ho. Enti say dem da court no.
Yes.
Dem na he was there ma ye for any bra. Ye share there ye na documents ye kita no. Dey not. Enti me ye share documents no. Na ye cure them mischief no hwe Afarijan. O train no man people for the documents na be no ka there. Documents was the be no. She nyim no. Abazi no see. At the time no the I mean natural justice, the MPP wanting to be heard to know that okay, these are our concerns. Now if I can OT one we are not catching on that and some other baby opa won
I remember Jake saying say on train kakra bi no muntimi ngada. No, you go to court.
Go to court. Me it can the bed.
So initial one.
Go to court. Into say them da. I say e be back okay no more me nye time. Intino a compel electoral commission do ombe ye Electoral Commission compel fine. Edeboko compel no be declare. But on the by that time, yes, you can go ahead. They filed, but they've withdrawn it. But that point, what the Electoral Commission has done, they could have saved all of us these problems if they had gone ahead to publish, to post as the law says. Now they haven't done that. Now the parties say we have concerns. We think this is the case. The attitude of that is it. Sometimes, Aveme, this election, Aveme, polling station. Aveme polling station. They verified 355 people. When they count the number of votes cast, was 356. The presiding officer there, all my parties were kind of 3 times. We now what's now on work there. Ibi ana krubi between my yam verified. And I had a ye huni ye. Inta we enjoy nonka. You don't know what can that jaw situation. MPP and NDC in our way. Nancha to see what voter in the wide MPP won't get we on. Trem obesi wa Ashanti in this work there. We are in because I Ashanti region. On an America day. Udra bribi, udumribia. In them I there no. Na because the ekade en kasa mo ho a awon so mo wore hwenye de sisi area waka de yenko court here yere bokui ye court ye compel one the one post results now we post that we post you know waka gazette ya we post na nyi on se san hwe
yes
inti de meda no yenko nka chenko for there azini we wian Inti simra ni entina fom ni enkenkan ne bio yenye collation na ye ebo hu de ma ye igina do ka de ni yenye no dem no te but e nyinara no so ya da ye sha senara na straight
Ekosiisen on Asempa FM.
Ihwima ne hu enke da no hu na enke hye wudem na enke ye collation
because the difficulties is here and say two parties in show pink sheet supposedly from the same electoral commission. But Obia kikani di ebomu a number onya no different.
Nenso azi wo posti wo anche yeko ne yesha. Some issues ne yesha. Na gado azi electoral commission is azi dey not. Awu di number letter wa ha ho baby. Ono na MMS de hwe.
No, but about in the video now circulate here Joy News a work copy no where that declaration was done. Who did the return officer declare for? So we're reading.
It's for the NPP.
Yes, it was actually for the NPP.
It was for the NPP.
Yes,
in that video.
But the contention is that now you
declare.
Yeah.
In the after collation, we were calling for another collation and go ahead could declare. And my point they say, if that should hold, then as far as the EC is concerned, they have done the needful. They've done the declaration, and post declaration, there's really not more the EC can do, at least based on the law. And the only avenue now would be because maybe there's a man Sanka in common way in started. If the EC had that body language, say, okay, we are open to want to sit down with you and let us. Clearly, everything shows say the EC believes they've done their work. And the only avenue now, man, is for the NDC or any other party of it, say, ECI and a bonyo sono, is to get a competent court of jurisdiction.
But will be member refuse there from day one.
Yes.
NDC ni commissioners we ending the year bepim and ne ayato abewi.
And also another.
So that posturing there, awo besi and ne we ye din komu.
Yes.
Ana electoral commission say ono so na juma and ono so oye. The NDC cannot compare. It's what the problem is now because akoye twe mamin twe.
Yes.
My biggest worry now is that if a minority leader able to could do that extent say Obaba betuye wo assembly bia wa Ghana is what I'm thinking of and you're healthy for it. These are two revered state institutions. It's that mentality, no.
What happened? It was very avoidable.
That mentality, no. Yeah, a Ghana that we want to see developing at a reasonably faster pace. It's a challenge. A track cohesion and agreeing on certain things about my Ghana and Puntu. Now we have started it here. There's a problem. So I feel that you say can we were court and a but you're paying phones who chrome. Anna, Yentiti as say.
Okay, Jackson, the video and where video of the collation and declaration on the day, time and semeba, and you could see say now return office and afa megaphone.
That's why the MPP also argued that NDC candidate, you know, a sympathizer. And so porno. And we can say, I'm so soldier for the Gaza, Ubia Konechi, Ubia Konechi.
Saying, say, summary collation sheet and you know.
So, and yet,
the guy not swim the court.
Yes, now, if I learned that, Omuko or not, either at Kojo the wood, about no, Kase, Papa say, Omunipano, ETT, Mu, say whatever.
But that means a coalition sheet, no? Easy, one copy, no more running copies. Edema parties,
well, as far as I remember, no, Omuchronini na different. Depending on the number of parties are more contesting process. No, into the duplicate. Into Omuchro bakwa. Then it shows on all the different copies, depending on the number of other polling agents or more around. And then once the signing and all, so then the EC would have the very original one. But then the duplicates are one that will still be available to the party.
And what would you bet about Facebook?
No, on
a video not a team.
No, that's what so
no,
papa no one why
yeah why is
why say no I see I'm say two also nipa no agi no or the team
inti omo dey akwa show mo
no listen shameful so the okoka say Asem a bigger than Asem because this is where just a constituency aside from the omo raising no Ketan Joe Gatel
omo raising
Chakwan so I say it's a crowd here. Now we are going to even look at the position of the law in terms of the injunction and so how the crowd as a abba so ankoye major issues be na
and also McMahon also cast almost 7 constituencies be
and ankoye major issues be abba but look at just few constituencies out of 275 a whole year now on ama and then
put the whole shemu part Techiman South na
but I want us to conclude with a solution enti mimi hwehwem no bi I'll still appeal to the NDC and the flag bearer say omo continue to demonstrate that they believe in Ghana and in the Ghanaian and in the process ye besre say the ye kenyina no nyina for the good of the country say ye wi omo pa dia omo nim se ye wi omo mugidi because they wouldn't have wasted their time at a chopper.
Okay,
the option that is left for all of us to support their cause is respectfully and humbly go to our law courts and let's see our law courts what they will say on this matter, because Ghana needs to proceed. We are unable to go through another 8 months, in this case 42 days. Now,
but 42 days no will be for a presidential petition.
21 days after declaration.
Yes,
okay.
And 42 days.
Okay.
In the 21 days after declaration, you have to file. Or file we are. The Supreme Court will take 42 days to adjudicate.
Okay, so what it even means
but
that
for parliamentary
exactly. What it means that presidential crowd very difficult in parliamentary because parliamentary is just a constituency. Oh, she no about amadi di hu change the enko enim sa. Ye besre. Ye mpese obi betime nya akukuduro edine sa kire se we esi wa ha we eko ha enko yie enti ye de sobo no anase ye kobo NDC kwadu. I believe that as much as in Etiano, you were genuine friends in the NDC. You name some more conscience. I am very clear and clean. A good heart for Ghana. So it will be very wrong and too early to start misrepresenting the fact. Say, no maybe a Asha CCC or mine, a NDC and a MPP.
Yes.
One way you corner when we give room for those things, then many gapo share chili cross. I could this answer money, knowing very well say you share a political party, and that's what has killed that all of us. Obedient in some money, near political coloration. My appeal.
Okay.
Let our laws work. Let's go to the courts.
Yes, way forward.
Mr. Sumi appeal will go to the Electoral Commission.
Okay.
First of all, on 22nd December, which is about 2 days ago, there was a post on Twitter by Bright Simmons. He made the point, and I'm reading it very briefly. Since the Ghanaian Electoral Commission refuses to show professionalism and institutional maturity, sections of the country's civil society movement will independently start tabulating and auditing the disputed Techiman South polls. That's the pink sheets. Trust the CSOs to do a more thorough job. That's what he said. Of course, there were a lot of reactions. So essentially,
unfortunately for such a statement, thorough jobs, me and I'm in
what effect would it have?
You see, but my point is, in fact, in this case, I will be tempted to trust the work that the CSOs will do more than what I've seen the NDC and the MPP put out. By virtue of the fact that the CSOs are more of an independent group. The NDC MPP, they have stance on their end that everyone says they want. But I'm saying that this notice coming from the CSOs and then necessary. The EC can avoid the situation where CSOs have to become a mirror version of an independent electoral commission to be doing and I make us say when in here my appeal will be to the electoral commission that we are not saying say go back and change whatever what gazette as far as Techiman South is concerned as the Ghana Publishing Company. We are not saying say go back. Well, the minority are calling for a recollation. It's fine. That's their demand. I wouldn't side with what they are saying or kick against what they are saying. All we are saying is that the electoral commission, they should forget the political parties. Omunja MPP ni NDC. Young fan is they are players in the polls, but and your money they would want to satisfy. Omunja whoever wants to be the candidate. The electoral commission should have the ordinary Ghanaian in mind and put up a pusher or more person who show the ordinary Ghanaian say a Jumana electoral commission no. This is the integrity that exists in it. This is the evidence backing what we did no. And just go ahead and let us all see details no. After that no, say NDC for na a chair. The ordinary Ghanaian would know. Say MPP for na a person almost so the ordinary Ghanaian will know. And so easy for no. A Jumano there, the responsibility actually lies with them, and they shouldn't run away from that responsibility by insisting saying we just want to see Jumano, why your declaration, why your gazetting, you are standing by it. Unfortunately, there is a dispute. Just put out the details of what you did so that we can all go to bed clear in our minds that what you did is right and that the NDC can go to hell. You know, whatever over whatever details they are also putting out.
And the main reason why we are here anyway, but Oman, what would be your advice to all the parties way forward?
Well, Ojikan, CCI Electoral Commission or Gazette results. And obey here the street protest on and results. Okay. And obey here the NDC for Boko Court. Or Assembly or the Boko Court. Minya and independent body be na ehunde say ete CSOs no so on the wedding, for instance, the wedding of Brad Simmons. I won't choose the CSOs to independently verify that. I mean, I wouldn't say CSOs should do that.
Wedding it shows some more interest
the wedding of it. Say, I mean, we can assure you that ours
will do a thorough job.
A thorough job. You're telling. I mean, you're concluding someone has not done a thorough job. You know. And I think that Yeko Court, you sue your accounting firms, KPMG, and ASIFO, and we can. I mean, and this would all come from a court, and that's why going to court is very important. And the minimum could have been prevented, but you do. Papa no so okaji a coalition sheet allegedly coalition sheet. I was the issue na echiatitim nti coalition sheet no nyo ha no no wara na yo but me jeans don yo but ebi so no nyo ho
easy for them can say
no ebi so no nyo
easy for them me tire mu tire
sa wo na akaji na atita
so boy nyina bo
ma yedema MPP no MPP chairman etenenka enti me no mama kan ye the court no be here court now independent coalition on your civil society no
civil society they what will be even the constitutional basis for that?
They are going to create more chaos.
And we are what effect will it have?
No, for the purpose of education. We all want to be clear now.
Yeah, my court in we are court. I think court.
I was seeing your plight.
KPMG go and audit the pink sheet. Now, Obia come at
Supreme Court election petition. Supreme Court election petition. Abraham people say, we brought 11,000 by the end, which is not true. It's 7,000 something.
Yeah, 7,000 something.
7,000 something. KPMG for auditing no one doesn't know number.
Maybe no credible daddy. No credible point will be your man say. As we speak, Jin Mensah is a lawyer. He knows, she knows, say, oh yeah, omunko court. And indeed, if you have something to hide, as far as Techiman South is concerned, say, you do not dog him, and you saw what happened to your friend, say, Afarijan. I am Soma, just that to go a catcher and say, court, they are not visa court, easy. Once you are put in the dock, now you say, NDC have failed you a bit to say, Chachu Chekata. Not Chachu air cross examinoa. If you have something to hide, that is where everything will come out for everybody to see. And that's why I insist, say, Oman, the best avenue left for us now is for the part you feel, say, they've been cheated, no, to head to the court. There are two. One, if you want to still insist, say ECM publish a coalition sheet now, you file a writ of mandamus. Midibusa Adawudu ka say, so file a writ of mandamus now. The other party has 21 days to respond.
Technicalities they're also smart. They know what they are doing.
If you ever filing in there, 21 days from now, they are swearing in no every. If you also go, because it's easy a gazetteer, if you go with a petition to the High Court, and also the Arana was so west, who's I was taking 4 years.
4 years. I'm making.
I'm
not really
but court or that's the striking the free the record of parliament. In the local parliamentary records are on your MP that.
But the challenge here is that we feel for system in no, it's a disadvantage to us as Ghanaians.
So before we win a court in ruling.
Yeah, so
and TBS grass and go
well, we need to just find out.
You know, I think, sir, from where we've gotten to now, the only basis and left for us is for the NDC to go to court, compel the EC to do what they have to do. Now,
but only basis now, no more challenge now. They can decide that they will not go to
protest,
court. They can continue to protest.
Of course, constitutional right. Once the police does not go to court to get a restraining order to stop you, you can always protest. And they are a constitutionally guaranteed right for them to do it. But at the end of the day, the resolution, is for this thing to be dealt with once and for all. And
it's not the CSOs.
No.
It's not a Bryson.
They
shouldn't come and Western apply for us. Or the figure be continued as another matter. You know.
Edima, my main kind message, we say the logic of by the NDC and some commentators is weird to me. The laws are clear on whatever process for electoral redress at the parliamentary level. What legal right has the EC to do a recollation or whatever after the Gazette? Note that most of these collation centers are temporary. And that's why every candidate is given pink sheets from all the polling stations for your own appraisal. And what is Bright Simon saying? In what capacity? Sampine, a regional secretary, ma NPP war, Ashanti region. We say, why did the EC allow recollation in Banda? It was done 3 times. Why not Techiman South? Okay, Chuku. Okay, Chuku, so they are no Ediaba. And okay, Chuku, thank you for your message. Let me see. This one also says, Obi, did I just hear Kweku Bakun advocating against street protest? What a word! No, I don't think we're advocating against.
No, the resolution and say,
Obeko yeah, resolution I will pay. But street protest no allowed. Let's get that. Okay, we say. The law on mandamus is my answer to a mine. Why did the NDC terminate that option in the Sunyane court? Exactly. Did Isaac Amo continue asking the EC to do something outside the court? You are right. After declaration, only the court can provide a solution. Truth be told, Afarijan did not interrogate the NPP's case. He refused to delay the declaration on the basis that what Jake had brought to him was insufficient. Same day he effected the declaration, and that was relative to the presidential election result, not parliamentary.
Chief Baini crying a simple amount.
Abdul Malik.
Chief Baini why a simple amount. Say, and the Bomodia court because who figures maybe. Yes. Whilst they exhaust their avenues, you know, into who foul figures now, for court.
No, so many locals here in the matter. Like Chief Baini, I don't know Canada. The constitution is claiming me locals very. What will be my locus? No, but I think nobody's against the street protest. I also get here wrong. I believe the two really can go hand in hand. They are really not mutually exclusive. Ubetimi aye na oh yeah way. So let's see how it goes. But that's where we are. Yemra back now. Opoku Yemra meshe how the 8th Parliament would look like in terms of the leadership. Edikai say you can't okay the end started with majority and minority.
But before because let me say Ghana phobia more Africa Queen Mackerel ni Nura Hodobi omo kase yenka omo ho asem kakra na yen hwe de yeko because And they almost were high or high. Omuni high anyhow. Christmas, no. You be quite good jaws, I'm it's very important.
And they know, said your mind here can I mean you bronya, Muntimin, na shopping. And the more shopping are more, you know, and they may bow fear now with Diana Shadam Koya, make case when him. Uni Mediana no,
Uni Mediana, Gapo, Uzuko catch you say, what do you that make case with him?
So him no answer him. On him no answer.
Oba, yeah, Oba be few over day, and we are KTB, Odios, Oman, Mako had Mako.
Oh, Momon, so yeah, the Makoni sounds on Fagusti ni maun kwa the befasa.
Okay, in the Obapa products near come for the amount or more Africa Queen Mackerel, more Obapa sardine, and Obapa tomato paste. Me pacho, so Uko Jomo Kai, Netosanio Mama Bruce, Africa Queen Mackerel, Obapa sardine, and Obapa tomato paste. Nina your Obapa product. Bronya the Noah and de a chasso edition and so MIA. And ope healthy hot chocolate drink for your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Please try the Cocoa Dairy Free Chocolate Milk Drink. A natural and made from pure Ghanaian cocoa mixed with fresh coconut milk from our own farms. It is enriched with calcium, vitamin D2, B12, and tastes silky and smooth. Now, a bar in other varieties in here were unsweetened, original, and super. It's fortified with 9 key vitamins and minerals, including iron, zinc, folic acid, vitamin C, and iodine, which boost your daily immune system. You'll be a Oma Obenu for Ubitmanum be your pain for Ubitmanum be a year papa, sickle cell anemia patient, Ubitman and a toddlers, Mobitimi and the Cocoa Dairy Free coconut milk, in chocolate drink and a milk and Ancasanso, Nina, 100% plant milk, a dairy free, a lactose free, a cholesterol free, and a sugar free. A year plant protein womb and a plant fiber and so a womb. Vegetarian Society of the UK Agiatum FDA our Ghana Hanso Agiatum Oko Melcom shops Ubenya Biato Mart NS chemists and trading shops around you Nara Ubenya Bi Etumi Atofre 0274 440-180 na yenye home delivery emfa amount 0274 440-180 na yenye sa home delivery no emfa ema eboapa no an yedi bronya yi ede bomode se obetima ma wonsa akabi mona soap ne mona cream nso se wo dware na opesa wo sra de wo hia eno no mona soap ena mona cream so opesa wo honam etoso na eyi nka efiri wo hone ade a unya bia ebetime aboa agbave fever nso to fight the onset and outset of malaria and also unya bi no mo a ebetime aboa na agbave tonic ni agbave balm so ni nyina unya bia in fact tonic no eye for ma so we suffer from menstrual clotted blood flow, Flemish menses, black menses, piles, agbave balm non so ohunami to 2 sisi na ye ya udi chichi so a ebetime akọ free agbave herbal hospital e was 0246 595-256.
Ekosiisen M'Ahiasem FM.
Ekosiisen M'Ahiasem FM. Gakpo mami mra na fe ye hwe ndi si ano.
Yeah.
So ye hwe the current majority now. Why am the forming leadership no? Why na why?
So we have Otsechi Mensah-Bonsu,
majority leader.
The MP for Swame, on majority leader.
Okay.
The deputy Sarah Joasafo, MP for Dome Kwabena.
Yes.
Osaya Minister for procurement, Minister of State in charge of procurement.
Yes.
Apart from that, no, a majority chief whip, Cheme.
Sunyane.
Okay. Yeah. Sunyane East, West.
West.
Kisia me out Cheme. Said here
Niniano. Asumacheme. Ono lands no.
Bafo no Sunyane East.
Yeah.
Sunyane West.
Yeah.
In actually we be Sunyane East.
Ono na a majority chief whip. There is a first deputy majority chief whip. Mathinindam MP for Bandai. Onwa losing into going into the next parliament. That's obviously a position that would have to be filled by someone else. And then the second deputy majority whip, MP for Trobu, Moses Enim. Second deputy majority whip. So currently, they are constituting the leadership. So there is someone from Ashanti, there is Greater Accra. In fact, there are 2 Greater Accra people in that because I'm a someone now, so I had Greater Accra, and then the Bono area and additionally, Panda area.
Pandai was OT region.
Pandai was northern.
Hey.
Pandai was northern
region. Yeah, that's
Pandai was northern region. But obviously, the gentleman there, as far as the deputy whip, the first deputy whip, Mr. Ninam, has to be replaced. There's a lot of talk happening. Into her that list now, there is just one out of them who is actually a female. Bako Penayoba. It's almost crystal clear. Say, Osaichi Mensah will stay on as majority leader. There's been a lot of talk for a while now, which he actually confirmed in an interview with Evans Mensah on PM Express. Say, his wish, then they say, and person could free the leadership front as far as parliament is concerned.
Okoye minister,
cabinet minister. Currently, say minister, parliamentary affairs.
And so now, cabinet position, right?
We would have to check. We would have to check on that. But now, Onono Hune said he would want to then leave parliament, be an MP, but hold on to a position,
an executive position.
Exactly. I'll be focusing on that.
Okay.
And in fact, there was a lot of talk then, just about almost 2 years ago, that he was probably going to head to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. And on one Basono, then the talk going forward was that when this parliament life comes to an end and we're getting into the 8th parliament now, just maybe it will be the good time for him to leave to go take up that full ministerial position, so that then someone else. Now, Debbie, and he himself goes on to make the point, say that was his wish to leave Parliament as a Minister for Parliamentary Affairs and Majority Leader. But with how things are looking, party is impressing on him. Say this is the time that they need him to lead the MPP side of the house. And, on no position, it's almost crystal clear. Say he's staying on as Majority Leader.
Now, if you have deputy.
And Nona, there's a lot of conversation ongoing.
Names
as far as a number of them. There is talk of Afenyo Markins, Alexander Afenyo Markins, MP for Futu. In fact, that has actually come up before, even before Adwoa-Safo. But then the indication was that, of course, a female was needed as far as the front bench is concerned, and that it wouldn't be good to have all males. So that's one of the names that repeatedly is coming up. Apart from Onono, there's actually talk about Esla Owusu, the Minister for Communications.
Oh, so deputy majority leader.
And then the point is that if Sarah Adwoa-Safo is leaving, another female will be needed in that particular position rather than a male.
Is it confirmed, sir, Enyadi party be maintaining Sarah as the deputy majority leader?
It's almost looking so. Not 100% confirmed. Of course, those decisions. The other bit is that this decision has to be taken in consultation with the incoming MPs.
Yeah.
And we know that a lot of majority MPs are leaving. At least more than 70 of them are not returning to the House. So a lot of the decisions are being taken right now, which would have a huge influence as far as the current MPs are concerned.
Yeah.
But it's still something that those who are coming in afresh need to be part of. In fact, from what we gather now, on the 13th of December, there was a major meeting of the majority caucus in Parliament to discuss all of these. And from what we've gathered from the meeting, a lot of names came up, a lot of suggestions came up in terms of who should take up what. But then the point was that the president, being the de facto leader of the party, is someone who has to be consulted very greatly before a firm decision is taken on how things would look like eventually. So those final consultations, particularly with the president and the party broadly, hasn't happened, which is how come we don't have the firm confirmation of who is taking up what. But it's looking very much so that the position of deputy majority leader is a position that someone else may be brought in, because then the push is that the front bench needs to be strengthened enough to be able to match up to what the other side will be bringing going forward.
Likely say nipa ni din e was ropa Alex Afenyo Markin.
Samson and Madam Esla and so are coming up as some of the
deputy majority leader.
Some of the possible replacements.
Whips names be about.
That's fun, idea. Looks like Cheme's name is what is still going around as to what the way forward will be. Except that now, then the claim is that we're seeing the NPP win a lot of seats up north, which has to reflect more as far as the leadership is concerned. There's been conversation about some of those who may end up replacing Matthew Nyindam as first deputy whip, and a number of names have actually been thrown up, including one that I heard recently, the deputy minister for employment and labor relations, Bright Rekubobe's name has come up as someone who may be pushed along that line in terms of as first deputy. It's one of the names that has come up. Not just that, but there are a number of others as well. But obviously, these are things that the conversations are still happening, and the firm decision will be taken subsequently. But what goes against that is then with the push that's happening, a more fair representation of the north has to come in once you have someone from up north leaving the front bench. So then that goes against it to a certain extent. All those dynamics are things that we know definitely before the end of the Christmas break, Nadia, they would have come to a decision on that, because they need to be ready with that before the 6th of January. In fact, over the last 4 years, by this time, we knew those who will be leading both the majority and the minority front benches. But of course, this time around, with what is happening in Techiman South, and what happened with Tere, so it's a lot of those decisions have delayed. But we'll see some changes to a certain extent as far as the majority front bench
concerned. And you share minority and so leadership near Haruna Idrisu as minority leader
from the northern region. His deputies from the voter region, James Klucha, who is the deputy majority leader. The minority chief whip is from the Ashanti region, Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak, the MP for Aswasi. The first deputy, the MP for Banda, Ibrahim Ahmed, also from the Bono area. And then the second deputy whip, Comfort Doyle Ganza, MP for Adan area Honum, Greater Accra, and deputy whip. Again, at that level, there is so much happening. In fact, publicly, the MP for Elembele, Emmanuel Amakufibwa, meaning he's been
an interview
on a media or parliament, and now Pache say there's been a lot of seats that they've won in the western, north, western, and central area. That they would want to see them being represented as far as leadership on the front bench is concerned.
Which is fair.
Well, which is fair, but how are you looking at it? Are you looking at that entire block as one region, or you are looking at it in terms of the numbers that are coming from the various regions? Because we have figures now. So, for example, just the voter region, is producing somewhere in the region of, if my memory serves me right, about 18 seats.
Yes.
Just from the voter region. But those specific places now, it looks like
Western North produces 6 for the NDC. Western region produces 5 or 6 for the NDC. And a central region so produces close to 13 seats. So
yes, so the Western is producing 6, the Western North is producing 8, and Central is producing 13. And the point is,
Western North na 6, Western region is 8.
Oh, exactly. With then into we are tallying now, then that puts the figure somewhere around 27. Somewhere around 27. But the question is, so you are looking at that entire side, western side, as a block. And it's a voter for Nsukase, apart from your 18, or Yanfa 18, so some count. Nebia, Obikaze. Eastern for no and see a fair representation. Then how are you approaching it? Are you approaching it as region by region and paying attention to it and ensuring that there is a reflection of that in terms of maybe those who have the higher numbers?
If who are 3 regions combined, now say we have 27 seats everywhere. I mean, leadership, how many? 5 people in leadership. And to one from that enclave, say bad.
Out of 27 out of 137 seats, and if you want to break it into enclaves,
into 5,
if you want to break it into enclaves, then maybe you can talk of maybe the northern part, maybe the middle belt, maybe the southern belt, the western belt, and probably the eastern belt.
Yeah, the eastern belt.
Well,
which makes sense.
Which makes sense. That is a fair push to make. But obviously, once that is accepted, then we need to see a situation where someone must give, as far as the current leadership is concerned. Again, on the minority side, it's almost 100% clear that
minority leader
would hold on as leader of that side of the house. They don't want to be called the minority as far as the next parliament as far as the next parliament is concerned. As far as the next parliament, but it's almost very clear. In the conversation with Evans Mensah, Alhaji Muntaka Mubarak made the point that he is comfortable with holding on as whip, and then contested to want to head up there, because I don't know who they say in this upcoming parliament, the position of the whip would be even more important, more important than whoever the leader will be. So and he's someone who, despite everything, they were hit by the bribery scandal earlier in the history of this parliament, which to a certain extent almost broke the minorities front, because then we had a situation where there was a bribery allegation that was coming from Mahama Yariga, and his own leader Muntaka Mubarak was insisting that that wasn't the case. So then one way or the other, they've managed to rise above that and stuck together as a minority over the last few years. And Muntaka has played a key role in holding the minority together. So obviously, he won't leave that particular position. Again, from the conversation that's happening, one of the positions that may end up giving has to do with the deputy leadership as far as the minority is concerned. That we may end up seeing a situation where someone else, maybe from the voter region or elsewhere, may end up replacing James Aveji. Although, again, these are decisions that have not been firmed up 100% yet. But a number of the names are coming up, again, from the voter region specifically, including Mr. Okujeto Ablakwa, Kwame Agboja, the MP for Adaklu. So then the talk going around is that conversation could possibly happen, that he should... But
Okujeto would be a fine deputy leader.
I couldn't agree more. He's built himself in parliament over the last few years that he's been there. He's shown he can analyze issues across board, not just sticking to his area, which is education or probably foreign affairs, but he has a good sense of the management of the economy broadly, very articulate, young, so then he's bringing in a lot of energy as far as the leadership front is concerned. So yes, but
by a combination between Onone Haruna would be one to relish. I mean, that would be solid.
But again, the Westerners are pushing very strongly that we should see a situation where there's a representation there. So
I don't think Amabua would be a bad choice either. Amabua for deputy minority or majority leader, however it goes, would not be a bad choice.
There's a lot of backroom conversation that happens. Of course, but there's talk of a lot of friction of a sort as far as some of the leaders on that side and people like him are concerned. But of course, once they have a common agenda, they'll be able to fix part of some of those specific concerns going forward. So yes, we are likely to see some changes as well as far as the front bench of the minority is concerned. And again, all of it is aimed at making the front bench more formidable to be able to deal with the issues, looking at how tight the next parliament will be with the 137, 137.
That's true. Obi, mami, some interesting information. I'll say.
Let's hear it.
I'll say, Obi, interesting. Mahama Yariga is urging Haruna Idrisu to contest the speaker so that he can become either majority or minority leader. And I'll say, there is an NDC leadership meeting now. That's fake. And serious lobbying is ongoing. He continues that Cletus Avoka is lobbying for second deputy speaker seriously. He has contested every election in the Fourth Republic, lost 2 and won 5. And Cletus so bad with that gravitas, for second deputy speaker. But we know what bring us to, the main.
Still on that, just briefly, So second deputy speaker, you are hearing Cletus Avoka with the information that the gentleman is giving you. I'm also hearing Dr. Dominic Ayini the MP for Bogatanga East. And in fact, on only the I've come across some of the folks from the enclave who are pushing and more like campaigning and whipping up support for him to fit in that position, whether second deputy or first deputy, depending on how things will pan out eventually. That is, he's one of the names that are coming up strongly as one of the people that the NDC would will probably occupy for second deputy speaker.
That would be interesting. Yes. First deputy speaker, likely say Joe Wise would have it.
Again,
depend on how
exactly. Again, there's also talk about the Formina MP possibly.
Formina MP.
There's also talk about the Formina MP possibly.
For first deputy speaker,
taking up that in terms of a deputy position away from Joe Wise. And in fact, in a lot of the conversations that had happened, there'd been talk as well possibly about that was then when there was the talk about probably chairmen are leaving the leadership front as far as the majority leadership is concerned, and then a lot of names were coming up about possible replacements, including Jose Usu, and then there was the name of Damboche that was put out. As to whether that still stands now, and of course, if chairmen are staying, then obviously there is no way that Joyce would then take up the majority leadership. But then yes, I'm making the point that yes, Joyce obviously your safest hand for that position. But then there is that talk as well about the Formina MP.
The Formina MP. And for the Speaker of Parliament itself, so far names are yatete on the part of the NPP. Justice Jones Doche.
Again, that's a name that's been making rounds for like 2 years now in terms of the likelihood of him possibly succeeding Professor Michael Kwe, except that, of course, because of the dynamics of how this parliament is looking like, then it's now more like an open fight for everybody, including Michael Kwe himself. But Justice Jones Doche, the man who made the famous create, loot and share comments that the Wyoming money, it was a case of create, loot and share by the government. Then very strongly.
Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK.
Yes, I was serving as MP between I think 96
to 2008. No, to 2012.
Precisely. So he served at a point in time on the leadership front on the majority side when Kufuor was president. So one very key name making rounds on the corridors of Parliament.
6 or 7 ministries.
Education, he's handled
solid resume.
Exactly.
Solid resume.
And he has the international exposure with his work in the UK. Also
for Speaker of Parliament. In the last few weeks now, a strong push for Freddie Blay. Former first deputy speaker of parliament, former MP Elembele.
So he was second deputy speaker. He became first deputy speaker before eventually he lost the Elembele seat to Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa. Managed to move on from the CPP stock and join the NPP side, raising to become first vice chairman. Now he's chairman of the party. Obviously, the party people will be interested in having someone like that in there as the Speaker of Parliament. But in fact, Nidin did not come up today. Even before Professor Michael Kwe was given the slot as Speaker 4 years ago, his name had again come in very strongly. And the indication was that he was really pushing then to want to get to Parliament. Of course, this time around, it looks like the party, the NPP as a party with a lot of the executives, as we have heard, are making a very strong case for him. Again, with the argument that this is the kind of Parliament that you need someone who has been there and seen it unfold to better manage things in terms of what the 8th Parliament will look like. So another very strong name.
A strong name. Which other name?
Let's not rule out Professor Michael Kwe.
Oh, again?
Yes. Let's not rule out Professor Michael Kwe again because, of course, again, for like 2 years now, there's been the talk that he would have to make way if the NPP wins this election for someone else to come in. But particularly with how Parliament is looking like now, then there's the point that you need someone who's seen it all and have guided the House through some of these contentious moments to then manage the House. So thus far, we can't rule him out completely yet. And then lawyer Ayikweo too. Because then the point is, So we have someone from the Northern Enclave as president, as vice president, someone from the Achim area as president himself. We have someone from Greater Accra serving as speaker currently. If you would want to get him replaced, then your best bet is another Greater Accra person. And that's where the former Attorney General Ayiku Otu's name again come up very strongly. Again, the jostling is happening. People are campaigning and lobbying for all these individuals. And hoping to get them there. One of the key things that is again being looked at is someone that the other side can build a consensus with to a very large extent. But that should again be a strong person that the president and the party and the MPP can whip in line as and when they want. Those are some of the dynamics that are playing out in terms of who they want, which then, if you ask me, then probably brings down the list to Papo Usankama and probably Freddie to a very large extent, except that of course him being an outright party person, then the minority would not exactly be excited about him serving as the one in leadership position. But of course, it's not about who is the finest for the job. It's about who the MPP caucus feels comfortable will be able to do their bidding, and who the president feels comfortable will be able to do their and the president bit is very important. And again, in the interview on PM Express that the majority leader did with Evans Mensah, he made the point about how the president is the de facto leader of the party, and so then his input is very crucial in terms of who should take up that position as far as the speakership is concerned.
Wow. Enti we any or more edin aba up say ebimu betimi aba be speaker of parliament in the next parliament. And him say on the minority side, then so name the name of the former speaker Asanya Ba
Edward Duajaho has come up.
Say Basa omonso form a majority now. And now so our parliament na yinimpo, they might also put up a candidate.
So that's what, usually the convention has been, apart from the time of Speaker Sechi Hughes, when the NDC put him up, although he was an outgoing speaker that the MPP had gotten in. Most of the times it's been consensus, whereby whoever has the majority, then, because the standing orders say that when more than one person's name come up for the speakership, then there will be a vote. But for many years, there's been a consensus where whoever is holding the majority will then propose who the speaker will be, they will propose who the first deputy will be, and then those on the minority side will propose who the second deputy speaker will be. But now it's looking very much likely that both sides will put up candidates. And those names that are coming up from the NDC side include Alban Bagbin and Duat Jaho for that particular position. The dawn of 7 January will be interesting in Parliament in terms of how things will pan out. Because there is talk by the minority side about how they wouldn't even allow people who are not legitimately elected MPs to show up in the House on the day. Then you're asking questions, will they be fiscal in terms of how